I've always said that in general, it's best not to vote early because you never know what might come out in the final weeks leading to an election that would make you want to change your vote. Voters should have as much to go on as possible before they cast a ballot. This time, though, Janet and I were so sure that nothing would change our minds that we went ahead and voted early. Stood in the rain for an hour to do it, in fact. Well, the same can't be said for many early voters for Joe Biden. According to the New York Post, some people say they are sorry they cast their ballots early after they saw the Hunter Biden laptop stories about corrupt foreign businesses and even the Chinese Communist Party buying influence through the Biden name. That's right. Even though the mainstream news and social media have ignored this story, totally ignored it, and even shut down the Post reporting, which damages their own reputation in the process. I'm speaking of social media. Voters are finding out anyway, and they're getting a big case of buyer's remorse. Incredibly, over 60 million people have already voted. But according to Google Trends data, searches for "Can I change my vote?" have been trending over the past few days, linked to searches for Hunter Biden. So, can you change your vote? Well, it frankly depends on what state you're in. The most interest in vote changing seems to be coming from Arizona, Tennessee, and Virginia. But voters there are out of luck, as those states, and most others, give them just one shot and one shot only. Hey, they should have realized they were supporting a habitually lying, feeble-minded, touchy-feely, hair-sniffing, sold to foreign corporations and the CCP corrupt politician before they cast their ballots. Now it's too late. I sure wish they'd waited. But good news for absentee voters in New York State, you actually can change your ballot. Unfortunately, that doesn't hold true for just regular mail-in ballots, yet another problem with that voting method. And if you voted early in person, forget about it as far as changing your vote. As I say in New York, forget about it. Yeah, you cannot go back and vote by machine again. Michigan, Minnesota, Washington, and Wisconsin also allow absentee voters the chance to re-vote. And for some reason, the voters of Wisconsin have 3 chances to get it right. Wow, 3. I wonder if people who are that indecisive on candidates as different as Trump and Biden maybe ought to just stay home or enter a mental institution. I'm kidding. Well, the Wisconsin Elections Commission say they have been contacted by, quote, many voters, end quote, I don't know how many that is, to see if they can revoke their original absentee ballots. Well, by all means do it. You couldn't possibly be wanting to change from Trump to Biden. After what we now know about the real Joe Biden, who on earth would want to do that? One thing about Donald Trump, he's always been just who he is. Plus, he's been investigated 6 ways from Sunday, and we know he hasn't sold out to anyone. So if you live in one of those states and by some chance have finally come into contact with real news, perhaps from the Huckabee newsletter, and you know that you need to change your vote to Trump, get in touch with your state elections commission and see about doing it. In the vast majority of states, you're stuck with your early voting choice, and that's why the DNC really has been pushing for Democrats to vote early and often. Well, their strategy is just to get Biden across the finish line, which is hard enough for a man of his frailty, even without all the baggage that he's carrying. There is so much scandal weighing down those bags, he might still not make it. But Facebook and Twitter are doing everything they can to help him. They really are. I mean, as we've noted, the CEOs of Facebook and Twitter are scheduled to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee in November, but this isn't going to happen until after Election Day. Between now and November 3rd, they apparently will be unencumbered in their efforts to shut down reporting on 1, election fraud, 2, anything they deem disinformation, and 3, the very real non-Russian disinformation Biden family scandal. The best way to handle this situation for now, stop using Facebook and Twitter as sources of news. They are not your gatekeeper and not a good source. Leave them in the dust. If Twitter shuts you down, go to Parler and get your friends on it as well. The Hunter Biden emails should make anyone but the most radical, beyond hope, Trump-hating leftist want a fresh ballot. No one denies these are real. As Molly Hemingway told Laura Ingraham on Monday night, we have an eyewitness referring to former Biden business partner Tony Bobulinski. But remember, Bobulinski, by the way, but remember that name, Bobulinski. Remember, he talked to Joe Biden about Hunter Biden's business. He's got evidence in support of the claim, and it matches with contemporaneous evidence about where Joe Biden was on a particular date back in 2017. And you know what? The media are pretending there's no need to cover this, even though Joe Biden is caught here in a lie about whether he ever discussed foreign business with Hunter Biden. Oh, and there's a lot more to this. My staff and I have been going through other emails and feel like sparing you some of the especially sad and, quite frankly, sordid ones. They reflect not just sleazy and illegal behavior, which Joe apparently was aware of, but also a kind of desperation as Hunter tried to peddle White House influence with other wealthy foreigners. The Biden name was really all he had, and it seems he was aware of that. Though I'm not a family therapist, I did counsel troubled families when I was a pastor, and it seems this family has been in need for a long time. Hunter apparently has had some professional help, but this family's ongoing story is still such a sad one. There seems to have been a lot of denial and covering up, from Hunter's needs to his father's slowly fading mind. We may never know, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hunter, in some part of himself, meant to leave that laptop behind. Joe Biden is a candidate with a lot of problems, personal, ethical, and potentially legal, and we are dangerously close to having those problems become America's problems. By all means, pray for the Biden family, but also pray Joe won't gain the office of the presidency. It's just too bad more of those early voters can't change their votes. Well, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed that video, which I'm sure you did, consider subscribing to the channel below and clicking the notification bell. Please leave a like and a comment, and share the video as well if you really enjoyed it. Now, if you want more of my news analysis and commentary, be sure and sign up for my newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. It is completely free. That's it for this edition of The Breakdown. I'm Mike Huckabee.